only 3 episodes into Outlander Season 7. It already feels like we are just getting so much story. Everything is moving very quickly, but it's smooth. It doesn't feel hurried. We've already got the Mackenzies in Scotland. We've got the Frasers heading that way. We had an untimely death and a fairly fearful threat. Just some really incredible performances, and one in particular that really got to me and is included on my honorable mentions. With such a full episode moving again very quickly, every moment is really worth watching. And so I have a heck of a list going 4 and 4 once again for Outlander Season 7, Episode 3, Death Be Not Proud. And these are my standout scenes and those honorable mentions that made this episode just really amazing. So let's get to it. And my first standout scene is going to be the realization that the house is lost. Yeah, Jamie looks up and sees that the big house, there's no way to save it. And Sam did a great job of portraying just that look on his face where he knows there's nothing more to be done. With the loss of this house, we do get some really poignant moments. The camera cuts to some of the things lost in the fire, including Claire's bag that Jamie had gotten for her. And of course, that portrait of William. And with the finding of that, Ian reveals that he knows the true parentage of Jamie's son. But like everyone else who knows the secret, he's going to keep it. And that's going to lead me to my second standout scene. That's Mrs. Bug, or at least the death and funeral of Mrs. Bug. A lot happens here, including, of course, the realization that Ian accidentally killed the wrong person, that it was someone that he deeply cared for and he will regret for the rest of his life. In these scenes, we also find out that Mrs. Bug will be the new guardian of the graveyard, Malva now able to go to heaven and find her peace. We also, of course, got Claire singing Ave Maria, and Jamie gave a very poignant speech about death. But of course, the big moment in this scene is going to be Mr. Bug threatening Ian. Now, of course, Mr. Bug asks if Ian would be willing to give up Rolo as a sign that he understands his pain. But even if Ian had, it wouldn't have settled it for Mr. Bug. And Mr. Bug makes a very clear threat to Ian's wife, which of course he doesn't have. So there's absolutely nothing to be worried about. And I'm a big liar. Now, my third standout scene is going to be the revelation of the letters. Of course, we always get a little back and forth thing with Jamie being able to see the future, but this time, Brianna and Roger, they're going to be able to see the past. And more importantly, they're going to be able to see the story of their family as it happens. Ish. I like that Brianna decides not to read the letters all at the same time, something she does in the book as well, because yes, these letters are included in the books as well. This is a wonderful way to relay information, and it translated very well from book to screen. And if I'm going to have Brianna looking into the past as a standout scene, then you know I'm going to have Jamie looking into the future as another one. This is another moment that confirms for Claire and for Jamie that Brianna, Roger, Jemmy, and Amanda have all made it to the future safely. Better yet, it looks as though Amanda is happy and healthy and growing. The confirmation that Jamie's dreams are true happens when, of course, he's able to name Fiona, one of the bright characters in this story and someone who I enjoy seeing pop up from time to time. So having her be that bit that relays that it is really happening for Claire, I think that was a really great tidbit. However, the really fun moment is when Jamie is describing a telephone and Claire is able to discern what the item is just from his rather interesting description. Yet accurate, really. Now, before I head off to those honorable mentions, I want to take a moment to thank everybody who has joined me on these reviews. And those of you who have come from my Droughtlander updates, hi, and thanks so much for joining me here as well. I know I always say don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video and want to get more in the future. I'm going to do something a little different though and include a super thanks. If you have ever been so inclined to donate a $5 to this channel, this would be the time. I don't know if you've followed the full story, but it's been a very interesting spring, summer, busy, accident prone, and kind of expensive in some ways. We're good. A new air conditioner will be coming this Friday, but it is making things a little difficult. So if you've ever thought, boy, oh boy, she's earned a little something extra, this is the time I'm going to ask. I don't ask often, and because I really don't like asking. If you come and watch the video, really, you're doing a great service to this channel. You're giving me the inspiration to come and make another video next week and to find some really weird ways to be able to keep providing content while I'm on vacation. My first honorable mention for this episode is going to be Jamie having a prayer. Now, again, they had a prayer last week, but I'm going to have a prayer for a completely different reason. And this one was wonderful because it shows some vulnerability in this man of men that we seem to really enjoy watching. He's always got the answers, always has some confidence, and even if he doesn't have all the answers, he finds a way to move forward. And so to see him asking God to help him be enough, it was a really great moment. What was even better yet, though, was later on when Claire lets him know that he will always be enough. It honestly brought me back to that moment where Mr. Bug says, out of all the oaths that he has made, the one to his wife is the one that he thinks matters most. You can see that they had a very close relationship, and we see that mirrored, of course, with Jamie and Claire. Now, my second honorable mention is going to be, well, that moment when Jamie and Claire are with the Beardsleys, and Jamie says that the child is just like his parents, which is an interesting little bit. Because there's a lot of parents to choose from, and that look on Jamie's face, portrayed by Sam, it was just perfect. And we get so few comedic relief moments here, and this was a good one. Now, for my third honorable mention, it's going to be that visit to Lollybrock. Not a lot happens here. They have a little discussion. Bree looks for her parents who are not there as ghosts, unfortunately. But we also get the fact that it's for sale and it may affect the future, so I couldn't leave this bit out. And for my fourth honorable mention, there was one performance in this episode that really got to me and I really enjoyed. The actor is quite good, but a lot of times the really emotional moments don't bring me to tears as much as I would hope. And this one certainly did. John Bell's portrayal of killing Mrs. Bug and what that meant to him, how much it hurt him, and how the guilt he feels. He did that so well. And the way he took that threat from Mr. Bug, everything came together really well. And again, John Bell doesn't always evoke tears from me. However, I was ugly crying. I have the tissues and yeah, the facial tissue company staying in business with me this entire season, really. Now, of course, with the guilt of the loss comes the threat, and he reacted to that very well, as I mentioned. But we also get this really sweet moment where he's contemplating going back and seeing his parents. He's nervous. But what I really enjoyed was Ian saying he hasn't grown much. It wouldn't be much of a change, really. Just the lack of self-awareness. It's a wonderful thing. The boy needs a mirror and possibly a picture from 10 years ago.
Ian Money Mistress.
Now, as great as this episode was, there was one moment that it really irked me. And please comment below if I'm way off, but it has been well established that while Claire healing someone may change their future, the future she came from already happened, so she's not going to change any outcomes that are already known. And so when Roger declares that Brianna's invention made another fire happen instead of the other fire, I have real issues with that. In the book, it's explained that another character who I don't think we'll be seeing anymore since they didn't make him the culprit, is the cause for the misprint or the misinformation. The printer's the reason for the bad ink blot, but the misprint, the misinformation, was a combination of a person handing in the information and a printer printing it badly. And I'm kind of irritated that they skipped that and made it all about the fact that Bree came back in time and invented matches. Because that's not how it happens in the book, at least the way I read it. Please, like I said, feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm always open to hearing why I'm wrong. And hopefully somebody will explain to me, did they just change it for the screen or did they step back and change the rules? Am I confused? Let me know. Now, while my lists are usually 4 and under each, there were some other really incredible moments that could have gone in this list and were tough for me to choose from. That, of course, does include the story of the gold. Yeah, when Mr. Bug explains how the gold got there, the story of the Jacobite gold, the 3 clans who had it, it was a nice bit of backstory thrown in very quickly. Well done, creators. And something that we did get in the books as well, though, in a more drawn out explanation and over time. I also really enjoyed the little cuts of the Frasers preparing to go to Scotland. Claire teaching Lizzie a little bit of how to get along and making sure that the settlers will all be watched over. That was a nice little bit, and I did play with including it, but other things seemed a little higher on the list. Now, another really tough pick for me not to include was the Spaniard and the gold. I don't know that we're going to see much more of them, but it was a cute little between grandfather and grandson story. Not hugely pivotal to the story, though handy when it comes to future purchases. And another little bit that I would have included because it was a really sweet moment would have been Adzo being found and Claire's farewell to him. This little kitten has been a friend, a companion, and an assistant in some ways, and so it was nice that the creators included that farewell. They could have left it blank, and honestly, we probably wouldn't have noticed it too much other than worried for the poor kitten. But it was nice they included that. And while those final bits don't go on any lists, I do think that they were really important parts of the story. Great things to help us be more drawn into the story itself and understand and relate to the characters so that as the story continues, we will be more immersed into the lives and the stories and what's happening and why. It's really great to be a fan of Outlander because no matter where they go, you seem to be going with them, rather emotionally or just mentally. We learn so much and it's so enjoyable to be a part of. That said, that does bring me to the end of my standout scenes and review. I think it's obvious. Again, I really enjoyed the episode. The creators did a fantastic job of telling the story, of relaying these emotions to us. The fire was done very well. Really, everything was spectacular. This story gets more and more intense as we go, and we can't expect it to get any less intense. As we know, Diana said the 8th episode is her favorite and the one that she really wants us to see. But we've got some time to wait, and if you haven't gotten enough Outlander content, please go ahead and join us watching one of these videos, and until next week, I'll see you there.